So this is basically the start of the build for the tippler. I'm going to show you how to prep each part and what you need to do with it, and then how it all fits together basically. So it's a nice simple build, it's not too taxing. I'll talk through my print and how I've gone about it, and just in case you've got any questions about that, and we'll look at different parts, how they fit together and what support I've used on them. So with all of this, it will be supplied in the orientation that it's intended to print in. So all of these bits don't change the surface that is facing the print bed. It just needs to be how it is, and that's fine. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and start removing the supports. So obviously around the edge I've included these little ears, and therefore screws, so you can mount it to your baseboard. If you want to have a look at removing them, then you can use object blockers, or even just chuck this into Tinkercad, and you won't have to deal with those. You can edit them out quite easily. If you're not sure how to edit them out, give me a shout and I'll walk you through it. And if you just want the finished article without any ears, then give me a shout as well, and I can organise that for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of the supports that are on there at the moment. One thing I forgot to mention actually in the tools section is just a pair of standard pliers. They make this bit really easy. So I've used standard supports on this. I have done tree supports with it with good success in the past. That's entirely up to you what kind of supports you use, but make sure you do use supports for this part. This is the only part that needs supports. All the rest prints without. So bear that in mind when you're doing your printing, and also when you're doing it, when you're removing these supports, always take a bit of care. They can get a bit sharp, but just watch out for this edge here. This length here, because the layer lines are going this way, can snap off quite easily. So just be wary of that. I learned on one of my prototypes that's a possibility. So just removing all these supports out of there. Have a look over the top, see I've got some left in there. Get rid of this. Get that file in there and give it a prod. It's a bit hard to see what I'm doing because I've got a phone pointing at me here. So yeah, so that is almost done. Now you've got these two slots here. These can be a bit problematic, but you want them to print nice and clean, because this is where your sliding containers will go. So I'm just gonna take this out as well as possible. There's one. That's come out really cleanly, and then hopefully this other one will play ball in the same way. Sorry for the out of focus on bits. Hopefully you're still able to follow. There we go. So that's our base prep now. If you're going to be painting this up, I recommend priming it now. Get some primer on it, and it just helps with the tolerances later on down the line. So I'm going to put this to one side, and we're going to take a look at our platform. Now this goes in two parts, and it'll print this way up quite nicely. Now we want to get our magnet here and pop it in there. So there's a little slot you can see matches up on there. Let me just go and grab my super glue. Incredible preparedness, but here we go. I like the Gorilla Glue. So for this, we're just going to take a bit, pop it on this surface, here, and super glue is what I always use for PLA. It sticks where other glues don't. And then nice and simple, we're just gonna pop it all together, make sure everything's nice and straight on there, because we're going to have a nice level platform. So this is the bit where I glue my fingers to the model. There we go. So that's that there. I'm gonna pop that lid back on if I stop throwing it around everywhere. In the meantime, we're going to start opening out some of the holes on other parts. So these are the struts. You've got one that's left and one that's right. We'll go through the differences between the two shortly. So I'm going to get my drill and my 2mm drill bit, and then pop that in there. Now these are 2mm holes in the CAD program I've used. Also, just to know, I do print these with a brim. You might not need to, but I just like it. It's kept them more secure for me. Now there are 3 holes on this this device, and we're going to open out the top one, not all the way through, just until the drill stops biting basically, and then this one, which is a perpendicular hole. We've got this little hole at the end, which is actually at an angle, so if you see, there's only about 1mm clearance there, but on the other side we've got 2 or 3mm clearance. So with this one, it's parallel to the one that we've just drilled. I'm going to go through and just drill that. There we go, nice and tidy. Don't need to touch the other one, that's for the elastic. Going to do this. There we go, just in there until the drill stops. We don't need to put any forward pressure into that hole. It doesn't need it. You end up coming through the other end, and then take this, and there you go, through there. Nice and tidy. So those are the first 2mm holes drilled, and now we're going to drill the 2mm holes out for this one. So you've got one here, one here. So just again pop it through. That was nice and easy. Clean out those holes. Good stuff. So there we go. Now we'll do the same with this. I'm gonna go through this hole here. Oh, sorry. I'm not paying attention to the screen on my phone. Take it out 2mm, and then this one as well. Take it out 2mm. Lovely. And then I'm gonna get my pin vise. We can put the drill to one side now. Hopefully we do not need it again. And you'll see up on these models, in this little corner, there is actually an indent for a 1mm drill bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill through there. Just going to have to do this off camera because it's a little bit fiddly. So just making the indent there. Give it a little bit of a twist, hopefully get a bit of a bite. Oh no, I'm slipping. Yeah, one sec. I'm going to take it through from the other side. So I mean, you could do this before you glue these together. That's probably a better idea, really. But yeah, just get it through there. Doesn't need to be perfectly level. There's nothing super fine about it. Let's do the other one. Find that little indent. It's a bit harder to find on this one. Okay, there we go. Let's go back through from the other side first. It is quite hard to do this on camera. At the same time, I've never really done anything like this on camera. You're about to witness me drill into my finger. Do as I say, not as I do. So head on through, there we go. Brill. So that's that bit done. Just gonna take some of the extra bits off there. Now we will only be using one side of this. This side is the one that we use. This side is the important one. Drilling through the both, it's just a symmetry exercise, but get your flourish through wire, make sure it can fit through the little hole there. It's not wanting to focus. Yeah, so that fits through. Happy with that. And now we're going to start putting a few bits together. So I like to start with the elastic, and we're going to take it through a little bit of a journey on this one. So first things first, put a double knot in the end, just a little overhand knot. First overhand knot, second overhand knot, just so it's nice and large. Okay, once you've done that, you can clip the other end off. So give that a clip. And then we're going to get our right strut. So this is our right strut, and the higher hole should be facing the front of the tippler. So this way around, that's the higher hole. And you're going to want to go through from the front, like so, until it stops there. And give it a good tug to make sure that it does stop. Our next step is, there's a little hole just here, a little square hole, and we're going to thread the elastic through there, and then underneath you'll see right in the bottom here, sort of just the other side of my finger, there is a round hole. So we're going to take it through there. I like to use tweezers for this bit. If you've got a steadier hand than I, then you can do this by hand. But take it through with tweezers, thread it through, and see it's coming out the back there now. And then pull that all the way. Now you want it to sit this way up. Doesn't have to be aligned with the bracket just yet, but that's where you want it. And we're going to kind of do the process in reverse now. So we take the open end still, we find our hole at the back, and we thread it through there, and then we want to go again back out through, see that one's much easier, back out through the little square hole here. Okay, now we've done that, I'm going to pull it all the way through. We're going to get our left strut. So again, this time we're going to come through from the shallow end, and I'm just going to pop it through. And then this is the sort of length I've got left to play with without it being taut. So I'm going to pull a little bit, put a little bit of tension on it, and again just pop an overhand knot into the elastic. You want to make sure that it is touching the knot's touching the strut when it's tight. So struggling with this one. This is where having a bit longer length of elastic is actually more useful. So there we go, that's that one. I'm going to pull quite a bit out now, and I want to basically aim to double up this knot. So go round, pull it up towards this knot. Okay, so not quite, so oh, hey, not quite. I've missed the mark there. You can see that the two knots are in two different places, so we're just going to do one more and double up the knot closest to the strut. Fab. Now that's done, come in, clip it the other side of the knot, and we've got our struts attached. So they'll sit upwards like that now, and you know the idea is that that's the springing motion for the top bar. So got that in place. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to measure up and mark my brass bar to go through the mechanism itself. So I like to do this with a Sharpie normally. Typically I don't have one to hand. See how well prepared I am for this this demonstration. So I'm going to be cheeky and I'm going to use the file to mark it instead. So my brass bar, I'm just going to offer it up to here. If you guys want to get a bit more technical, it's easy to measure, just outside to outside. I've also done ones where I've just bent the end over, just because it provides a little bit of extra security. But on my working prototypes, I cut it almost flush, drop a little bit of super glue in the end, and leave it be. But I'm just going to make a little mark on the brass there for where I want to clip it. And then, you know, always take precautions with this stuff. Get eye protection on. Make sure that there's nothing near you that you're going to damage when you clip this, because they do come off at quite a rate of knots. So there we go. We've got our correct length now. I'm going to get a file, give it a little dress over the end. I'm not going to spend long on this because I'm doing the demo. So that's that. Fab. And we're going to do the other brass bar for our top linkage here. So again, now remember these holes don't go all the way through, so we just want to take about halfway into each hole. I'm going to move my fingers up there, and again, being careful of eyes and whatever's in the background, give it a clip. Now again, you can dress this one if you want. Doesn't really matter a whole lot because this end will not be seen, but it might make it just a little bit easier to go into the hole if you dress it. And then literally I'm just gonna press it in to each side. There we go, in one side. Let's get it in the other side. There we go. Now see, mine's too wide there, it's pushing things out, so it's either too wide or it's not gone far enough in. At the moment it's looking to me like it is still just a little bit too long, so I'm gonna pull it apart, give it a little clip. And again, this is the sort of benefit of working in this way, is we can just give it a little clip, come back to it. It doesn't matter if the brass rod's slightly short, but there we go. That's looking a lot better now. Yeah, if it's slightly short, it's not the biggest deal. So for the next part, we're going to get our platform. I'm just going to make sure that the rod does fit through. Yeah, so it does. Might give it a little bit of a opening there, because we want it to freely pivot around this really. So that's where it will pivot from. Now this bit is a bit tricky, so first things first, you want to get your brass bar and get it in through the end here. So there we go, we can see it's gone through. I'm going to pull it back a bit and I'm going to line it up with the hole we opened out on the strut. So push it in through the hole. There we go. Again, I'm just going to push down a little bit, give it a little bit of a tap to help it on its way. So yeah, sometimes PLA is a bit fast and loose. So I think again, I'm just going to open out the holes on here. Give that a bit of love. Just not the camera. Just a bit of love. Get it through. Okay, make sure everything's lined up still. Good stuff. Now get the platform, pop it through. Just make sure it all lines up nicely, which it does. And our brass bar, we try again. So in one side. And there we go, we can see it started to come through the end there. Now, we get our platform, and you thread it through from the back like so and pop it down. Now this one should be a little easier because it sits at the right height for the bar to go through, with a couple of mil of, well, a couple of thousandths of mil of wiggle room there. And again through to the other side, and we want to go through this piece. You can see it is there, and at this point, you know, get something, save the ends of your fingers, get something that you can put a bit of oomph behind, get it lined up with that last hole, and drive it home. And we can see there, that's that. So at this point you should be able to rotate this. The platform itself shouldn't spring back, it just goes back at this point, but if you push this, your bar should be able to return to the position it was at. So that's sort of you seeing that it is, the elastic is tight enough to make that work. Now before we start adding other bits onto the bottom, I'm just going to walk you through our bins, our collectors. So we've got two included with this. This one here has the fitting for a standard bottle, or a bottle of pop. Literally just screw it onto the bottom and it'll be fine. This one here, talking in sort of 16-ton mineral wagons, British ones, it'll hold about 10 loads, and the idea is you can just slide it into the bottom. If you've got it underneath your baseboard, it's very easy to slide in and out, nice and easy. If you're going to go with this one, what I'd recommend is sliding it on, then just give it a little bit of glue, keep it in place, and instead of sliding this on and off all the time, just screw or unscrew your bottle from the bottom. Yeah, so that's that. I'm going to cut the video there because that's a super long one, and we're going to look at how we put the Arduino together and do the scary bit, the wiring. But honestly, it's super easy. Thanks for watching so far. I'll post the next video shortly.